Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris here with some more Hearthstone Arena action. Paladin is my least played class, but I haven't done a proper Druid video in a long time, so we're going to grab Malfurion here and see what we can accomplish. Alright, we're going to start off with a pretty good rare. I think the Sunwalker or the Auctioneer has to be the pick, and it's tough because I have lost some games due to not having enough taunt. So the Sunwalker is certainly nice for that. It's a really good roadblock, but the Auctioneer can be great with all those Druid spells for some card draw. Well, there's more taunt in this game than there is card draw, so I'll take the Auctioneer, but I can definitely see why people would disagree with that choice. Druid Claw is an easy call there. Super awesome. And here's an interesting choice. I could go for the Acolyte, or I could go for Innervate. I'm going to take Innervate because A, Druid of the Claw Innervated on turn 3 is spectacular, and B, Innervate is friggin' amazing with the Auctioneer, so it's worth grabbing here. Now, to take a second Innervate or an Ironbark Protector, I'm actually tempted by the Hunter just because it's a good 3-drop. I'm sick of losing games to having a bunch of expensive stuff that I can't play, and 2 Innervates is a little bit greedy. Although playable, you can play with 2 Innervates. We'll try it. I got this Auctioneer. I'm going to try the 2 Innervates. We'll see if that works out for me or not. Here, I'm actually tempted by the Blood Knight, although it doesn't actually pull off Divine Shields that often. I want to keep my curve a little bit down, but then again, Sea Giant is just so good. Whatever, we're going to take it. Okay, Starfire is interesting. It's expensive removal, but it is card advantage. It is removal. It also gives reach. I'm going to take it. I'm just being a little risky here, taking so much expensive stuff, but I think it's going to pay off if I just don't get screwed being forced to take expensive cards later. Fairy Dragon gives me my first 2-drop, and Senjin is just spectacular. Here's an interesting moment. The Scarlet Crusader is definitely very good, but I'm going to take Power of the Wild because I want early plays to slow things down, and it is a spell with Gadgets and Auctioneer, and it can buff things up later on. It's just good for many different reasons. Only playable card here, I think, in the arena is the Crazed Alchemist, although I know the Young Priestess does have her adherence. I don't want to take the Gorobashi Berserker because he's junk. I don't want to take the Mad Bomber because he's junk, so we're taking this Bloodsail Raider even though she is totally neutral. Take a Loot Hoarder here for some more card draw. And the Savage Roar is actually kind of tempting for a finisher, but I'm not going to pass up on a Yeti because the Yeti is just very strong. We'll take the best 2-drop in the game there. So we got our 2 drops taken care of. We'll even take a Cult Master here for some more card potential. I now need some 3s, and this is not giving them to me, but I'll take a Power of the Wild over the Dark Iron Dwarf for, again, some more early play so that we can survive to play this endgame, and because this card is good in the endgame as well. Alright, second Starfire or an Ironbark Protector. I will grab the Ironbark Protector here to get that big card. Okay, now Boulder Vist Ogre, we're getting greedy because I just took the Ironbark. That'd give me a pretty expensive deck. But I do have 2 Innervates. I will take it. Silver Moon Guardian's not quite good enough to tempt me away. I'll take a Claw over a Starfire. Lots of Starfires here. And I have enough card draw because I took the Cult Master and the Gadgets and Auctioneer and the Loot Hoarder pretty aggressively. So I'm going to take Keeper here for some removal. I don't need to take that Nourish. Alright, Wild Growth seems like a pretty obvious call here. And the only playable card here is the Ogre Magi. So am I going to get a single 3-drop? Well, the answer is apparently not. So we got our Alexstrasza or Cenarius. I think Cenarius is definitely the winner over Alexstrasza. You can always play him down. Alexstrasza is a bit more conditional. We've got a Dark Iron Dwarf that I'm not super thrilled about. Finally, 3-drop. I do want to have some of those, and I'm going to take the Argent Squire to have a 1-drop as well. Swipe! Almost had a Druid deck without Swipe. Flesh Eating Ghoul just because it costs 3 mana. And I don't want another Wild Growth. Although, hold on, Wild Growth is very good with the Gadgets and Auctioneer on turn 10. But no, I'll take a Savage Roar because, I mean, it's bad removal, which is sometimes better than no removal, and it can be used to potentially burn the opponent out. Alright, don't need this big guy. I've got enough big stuff with Cenarius, Ironbark, and Ogre, so we'll take a Keeper of the Grove here. So this deck, I mean, it could use a few less 4s and a few more 3s, but other than that, I mean, it's got a decent amount of removal, pretty good card quality, I'm happy. Now, what I've got here is some Trader Joe's Teriyaki Mushroom Quinoa Sushi Rolls. My girlfriend and I went to Trader Joe's yesterday to get provisions for our trip. We got like $73 worth of Trader Joe's snacks. It was glorious. And I saw these things. I mean, for like $3.50 for 8 rolls, it seemed like a good deal. I haven't had them before, so let's dip them into the soy sauce and the ground wasabi that was provided and take a bite. Oh wow, pretty good. I think I put too much wasabi into the soy sauce, but solid stuff. Alright, good opening hand. The only thing that would make it better is if I were second. So I could play these back to back and have increased odds of a Shattered Sun Cleric on turn 3 to buff something, but This will do. This will do, pig. This will do. We got a Druid of the Claw, so if I get one of my 2 innervates, I can actually play that thing on turn 3, which would be great. Hoping my opponent doesn't have any coin shenanigans. She's flicking that card, which I believe is her coin. She decides not to. There's the innervate. Wow. Now, you could actually innervate for a Power of the Wild here. I have generally found, though, that innervating to get 2 2-drops is not worth it. It's much better just to innervate a really good 5-drop, on average, I think. The teriyaki flavor of these rolls is a bit weird. Of course, maybe they're not fresh, but there's no fish in them, so freshness shouldn't really matter that much. It's just a 3-drop, and it seems it's going to be a deadly poison. Yep. Okay, so no problem. I will innervate the Druid of the Claw. There's pretty much exactly one answer a rogue could have to that, which is sap. Now, it's possible also that she will come up with a way of dealing 3 damage to it, but that's a bit tricky. Eviscerate's kind of hard to combo here. And anything else, she's going to be 2-for-1-ing, which I'm okay with. The wasabi is good. And the soy sauce is good, but the teriyaki flavor inherent to the rolls is not that great. Okay, so we have a couple of options here. Option number 1. I could play the Shadowstone Cleric, make this a 5/7, kill the bear. This is 4 health. So the dagger will not kill it. Option number 2, Fairy Dragon and Power of the Wild. Also making this a 5/7. Also giving me a 3/2. But costing 2 more cards. Well, actually, that answers that. If I'm achieving the same effect, I might as well spend 1 card to do it rather than 2 cards. So let's see if she has an elegant way of dealing with doing 1 extra point of damage. She wants a Shiv or a Fan of Knives here. Wait, no, I miscommentated! If I'd done Fairy Dragon Power of the Wild, I would have had a 4/3 and a 5/4. That might have been worth it. I think I messed up. I should have probably done that. You never know when that extra power and toughness might come in handy. Leopardome, Coin, and Eviscerate? Or Leopardome, Combo, Eviscerate? Seems like the obvious. No, an SI Agent. Well, notice, though, if I'd done the Power of the Wild Fairy Dragon, it would have survived. So I messed up. The question here is, do I swipe or not? If I do swipe, I can clear her board, but I can't play anything else. But I get to hit her for 5 damage. If I don't swipe, I want to play Keeper of the Grove Shapeshift to kill this SI Agent, but I don't have enough mana for that. I could again play Fairy Dragon Power of the Wild, but that's not as good here with her having 2 minions out. I could kill the SI Agent, Keeper of the Grove to kill the Leper Gnome, and then she can hit this with her weapon, wasting the deadly poison. My instincts tell me swipe is the move, even though it's the only swipe I have. Even though that's not the greatest use of swipe ever. It is a 2-for-1. And I get to keep the Keeper of the Grove with the possibility of comboing it with Shapeshift or a minion next turn if need be. Man, I really like that wasabi. It almost doesn't matter what's in the rolls. The wasabi's so good. They also came with this cute little packet of ginger. My opponent wanted an Eviscerate to kill this, but she didn't have an Eviscerate. Well, her loss is my gain, I suppose. Just play the Keeper of the Grove, kill the Ooze. And think, I could do Power of the Wild, but that still wouldn't save the Druid of the Claw from the Farseer's Wrath because of the Wicked Knife. So what I'm going to do instead is just play the Fairy Dragon, and hit her in the face for 5 damage. She seems to have no way of dealing 4 damage to a creature. So, if she doesn't have the ability to bring it down without hitting it with a weapon, I might as well get the extra damage through. What she wants here is Fan of Knives or a Shiv, so the Farseer can at least trade with the Druid. Or at the very least a buff like Shattered Sun Cleric, Defender of Argus, or a Wolf or a Raid Leader, so the Farseer again can trade with the Druid, because she doesn't really want to hit the Druid with this weapon. That would give her a lot of damage that she probably doesn't want to take. She does Blade Flurry here to kill off one of my creatures. She now attacks it, taking 5 damage but clearing it out. And okay, board clear achieved. Now, however, as long as at some point or other I get my big creatures, I will be in totally fine shape. I could do Crazy Alchemist and Power of the Wild. I'm not sure what the point of that would be. You know what, honestly, I'm just going to play this for the Panther. And I'm going to play this on that guy so that the Crazy Alchemist can trade for it. I don't think I'm going to get these rolls again. The mushrooms are good, and the wasabi is good, and the soy sauce is good, but the teriyaki flavor, sorry Trader Joe's, is just not your greatest achievement. She put a lot on the board. I need to get my big stuff pretty soon here. Well, that'll have to do. There we go. Okay. So I can do this. This. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky. I'm going to actually hit past her. 3 extra damage could matter a lot here if I'm about to drop Cenarius. And try to burn her out. Well, the ante has just been upped. She spends her whole turn sprinting. She shouldn't be able to do anything else. She has preparation or some kind of silliness. I put down Cenarius and hope she doesn't have an Assassinate. Even if she does, this is 4 power here. But she has a full hand of cards. Notice she does have card advantage here, so if she can hold me off, she can clear my board somehow. She can probably win this game. Mars the Rogue. Fen Creeper's not really what she needs here. She needs a Assassinate. Okay, so the Cold Blood is very clever, because it'll damage Cenarius a lot, but it's not really good enough. Can I play Ghoul? Sea Giant? I will trade most of Cenarius' health to do this. I don't see much reason to kill this Bloodfen Raptor, I don't think. Yeah, we'll just hit her in the face. If I actually lose because I kept that Raptor alive, then that'll be an important lesson, and then the value of that lesson, I think, will be worth the loss. But I don't think there's actually a reason to do it. Yep, she concedes. Great. So just in time, my big stuff came along, and that's win number 1. The draft I played before this was a troll draft, where I had my girlfriend's 4-year-old son pick my cards. I will not spoil the result. I think it was a funny video. It's worth watching. I will say there were some unusual combinations, some unexpected synergies, some delicious combos that would not have happened in a normal draft. And it was fun. M-Herp SSS is our paladin opponent here. It's a pretty weird name. I'm not going to keep Shattered Sun Cleric because I'd rather actually get 2-drops than keep something that might buff a 2-drop or do nothing if I don't get them. And you can see if I hadn't mulliganed it, it'd look really stupid here. Innervate. Very nice. So now on turn 3 I've got to play. And on turn 2, hopefully I can just shapeshift and kill whatever he played on turn 1. Or if he passes, I'll just be shapeshifting. That's fine as well. Don't think it's worth it to innervate into a Keeper of the Grove. That seems a little bit silly. But I really hope this Druid of the Claw goes a long way because, as you can see, my hand is pretty dead. He drops a Young Priestess here, which is kind of unnerving. So he put 2 creatures out. My god, I wish I had this last turn. That would have made a really huge difference. Okay, we're actually going to do a change of plans. I'm going to kill this Young Priestess. I'm going to pass the turn. I think it's worth it to get that Priestess off the board. Yes, the Druid of the Claw holds up against his creatures, but if he's going to play aggro against me, he might just be able to overwhelm me if I calmly play a Druid of the Claw and ignore his stuff. Okay, so Harvest Golem comes along. Not a big deal. We kill that Doctor, we pass the turn. And I can play the Druid of the Claw normally and innervate an Ironbark on turn 6. We'll see how that goes. And that is the end of my teriyaki mushroom rolls. Not bad, but not great. Gadgets and Auctioneer, huh? So I could play him and innervate into a Berserker, but I'd rather just play Druid of the Claw. The thing he wants here is a Blessing of Kings. That would make this Golem into a 6/5, kill my Druid, still lives, still has a thing spawning after I do kill it. It has a quality which is also going to let him kill it, but it's not as good as Blessing of Kings would have been. And he plays this just for the 3/3 body. Okay, great. So we have a couple of options here. 1, I could of course innervate into an Ironbark Protector. Or 2, I could play the Ghoul, the Berserker, and the Argent Squire, and then innervate into Cenarius the following turn. Problem is that he can use the Farseer to kill the Berserker. The Ghoul and the Squire survive against what he currently has, I guess. But it'd be pretty far-fetched to hope that 2 of my minions live for Cenarius to give them both 2/2/2/2. And in any case, getting 2/2 trees with Taunt would be better, I think, than buffing these. Well, probably. That'd be a 4/5 and a 3/3. Yeah, I guess it would be better to buff those than to make 2 new things. I don't know. My instincts tell me the Ironbark's the way to go. Pretty much all the Paladin's got for this is Big Game Hunter or Outdoor Peacekeeper. And even if he has the Peacekeeper, he still has to get through the Taunt. So, this seems like a fine play. And in fact, he does not have... Well, unless he has a Humility for that last mana. Yeah, he's got nothing. Okay, great. So here, I could push my luck and just attack his face, but that seems a bit foolhardy. Let's instead drop an Ogre and a Squire. And kill off his biggest minion. Passing the turn then. So after he finishes the Ironbark, he now has the Ogre to deal with. And in a couple turns, he's also going to have Cenarius to deal with. Does he have a Consecration or a Hammer of Wrath to finish this off? He has a Consecration, which is fine because it kills the Ironbark, but it only pops the Divine Shield and damages the Ogre. And he will actually finish off the Ogre, which is okay. Alright, I could play a Sea Giant here for 8 mana. But I think it's actually more productive if I drop... Well, the Auctioneer... I would play it if I had a spell to play, but since I don't, I'd rather just put out another minion and use the mana to shapeshift so I can keep my Squire. Otherwise, I would have used the Squire to kill his recruit. But here, I'll preserve my Squire. Cenarius is actually really credible now. I think with 3 minions, it's definitely better to give 3+2/+2s than it is to get 2/2 trees with Taunt. Because 3+2/+2s, it gives you a total of 12 power and toughness, aside from Cenarius himself, whereas the Treants only gives you 8 power and toughness. Wait, am I counting right? Oh yeah, each +2/+2 is a total of 4, yes, okay. So yeah, I could now do Auctioneer Swipe to clear his board, but let's not wait too long on Cenarius. So let's just do this. Buff up the team. The Ghoul is silenced. But what I can do is I can actually enrage the Berserker like this. Damage the Ghoul because a mostly dead creature is better than an already dead creature. No reason to throw the squire away, I don't think. Consecration does nothing except kill the ghoul, so he wouldn't even do it. He's got a Peacekeeper for my Berserker. No, he's got a Peacekeeper for Cenarius. Interesting. And he's gonna put the Peacekeeper back in his hand. Luckily, he cannot play it again this turn yet, so this guy is gonna get to have a party before he gets Peace kept. And we can actually now play a Sea Giant here. Interesting. Alright, if I do this... Sea Giant costs 3. Ah, this is worth it. So we're going to do this and think. I can either swipe this panda, clear his board out. I've got actually, what, 8, 12, 15... I can actually deal 19 damage. Or I could play the Sea Giant and then Power of the Wild to get a card and buff everything up again. Let's just do that. So Sea Giant, Power of the Wild, +1/+1 to the whole team, draw a card. Okay, we'll use Cenarius here as our minion sweeper. We will trade one of these two for the panda. Let's do the ghoul. Even though it hits a little bit harder, I think it's worth it to preserve the higher health minion. And we're going to swing for 12 damage. This is a pretty massive board, and he concedes. I don't blame him. So Herp money goes down thanks to Cenarius and my big stuff. And that is it for this video. So if you enjoyed it, do please like and or subscribe. And if you want to see how this run ends, well then stay tuned. The rest of the games are going to be posted shortly. I'll see you again soon.